Welcome to Photography Fridays. My name is Kris, and this week we're going to be talking about 3 different techniques that can get you some really cool pictures that will impress your friends. You can post on Instagram. You can do whatever you want with them. So the first one is going to be how to make things float. And that would be like, okay, if I took this phone here and I tossed it and you took a picture while it was in the air, it looks like it's floating in my hand. You need a fast shutter speed. You might need an external light. If you can use anywhere from 400 to 1,000, it's going to be best. So if you're outside, you're going to be able to use a higher shutter speed than if you were inside in a dark room or something like that. But that's where the light comes into play. And really that's it. You always want your ISO as low as possible just to keep the grain out of the picture, unless that's what you're going for. Generally, it's going to look cool if you have the background blurry. So you're going to want a low aperture, which is also going to help bring in more light if you're in a dark area. Fast shutter speed, low aperture, as low of an ISO as you can, and possibly an external light, and just give someone something to toss into the air and take a picture while it's in the air. It's as simple as that. The second thing we're going to talk about is light trails. Now, light trails are really fun to get a group of friends together, go outside at night into the woods, somewhere really dark. It doesn't really matter as long as it's super dark. And the easiest way to do it is with a shutter remote so that you can press the button. You're going to need a tripod for your camera to keep everything perfectly still. You can also use the timer on your camera and set the shutter to like 30 seconds or 20 seconds or 15 seconds, however long you think you'll need to make whatever light trail you're going to make. It's going to need to be a super slow shutter so that when you're riding, it makes that trail of light. Instead of just capturing right here, it makes a trail. And you can write whatever you want. You can draw whatever you want. I know a guy who's drawn wings on somebody. It can be really fun, really cool. I'm new to it. So this picture right here is one that I took the other night. I had my shutter release button and I just set up the camera how I wanted it on a tripod. And as a car was coming down the street, I would press the button and then not let go until it passed me. And it made that trail of light in the street. Now, with all of those lights in the picture, it was really bright downtown, and I had to put an ND filter on. I had to turn my ISO down to about probably 800, just because it's still dark. I still want that, I still need to pick up the light, so it needs to be a little bit higher ISO when you're doing light trails. And then my aperture was on f/16, I believe. And I did it with a 24mm or 28mm lens. The ND filter wasn't turned all the way dark, but it was almost all the way dark. So you just need things to be really dark when you're doing light trails, and the longer the exposure, the brighter everything is going to get, the more light it's going to take in. So just keep that in mind. Light trails are super fun. If you want to go check out someone who really knows how to do light trails, go check out Caleb Miller. His Instagram is going to be down in the description. It's full of awesome light trail stuff. He posts pictures all the time. The last technique is my favorite technique, and that is going to be panning or rolling shots or motion blur, where the subject is in focus, is essentially what panning is. Basically, you're going to take your camera and you're going to follow the subject. So if it's someone running really fast, you're going to start at one point and you're going to try to follow them. And the best way to do it is to take a lot of pictures, just a burst of pictures as you're following them, and then hopefully one of them will turn out right. Another way to do it, if you're taking rolling shots of a car, such as this picture right here, the technique for that is you're going to need another car, you're going to need someone to drive the subject car, and you're going to have to hang out of a window at 50 to 60 miles an hour. Basically what I did when I did it, my friend Tate was driving the car, I had someone else driving my truck, and I was hanging out the window, and I had my shutter speed on 140, ISO 400, I had an ND filter on set to where I needed it, and then I had my aperture on 4.5. Now, it would have been even better of a picture if I had my aperture on 8 or 10, because then the whole truck would be in focus and crisp, rather than the back half of the truck being out of focus, not because of motion blur, but just because it wasn't in focus. Now, as you can see, the background and the road is just complete motion blur, and I think it looks awesome, and I love pictures like this. Now, the slower the shutter speed, the more that's going to happen, and also the harder it's going to be to get a good crisp picture of the truck, but it turns out really cool if you can experiment with it and have enough time. Now, if you're going to do that, please be safe. Use a camera strap. Have someone behind you holding onto you so you don't fall out the window. You know, you be safe about it. But panning, making something float, and light trails are all really cool ways to take different pictures. And just go try it for yourself. If they turn out bad, try again. Do it another night. Do it just over and over until you get it down. And that's how you become a good photographer. That's how you take good pictures. I'm noticing with myself, the more that I go take pictures, the better those pictures turn out. And I'm taking less bad pictures and more good pictures. Now, I still take bad pictures. I still take crappy pictures that I don't even want to look at. And most of the pictures that I take, after a while, if I go back and look at them, I hate them because I've progressed and I see all the flaws. But that's part of it. Just go experiment, go take a lot of pictures. You will get better. I hope you enjoyed this video. If it was helpful, hit thumbs up. And if you have any more questions on different ways to take pictures on anything that I've said in this video or a past video, comment down below and we can talk about it, we can discuss it. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys next week.